Stars lose a heartbreaker of a great game against the Detroit Red Wings. We pick up a loser point in the process. Our winning streak ends at 4 games. And we're going to talk about some fights around the league. But first, go ahead and follow here, subscribe on TikTok, and let's go. We almost had it. And Dylan Larkin ends up getting the game-tying goal with 4 minutes left and then does us in overtime. We get the loser point. A tough loss, but we looked pretty good doing it. Detroit looked good at defense. They looked good in net. They were great offensively and on the power play as well. And we ended up giving up the first goal early on a net front goal from JVR. Rasmussen beats Heiskanen with a bank pass and then an impressive puck protection play and pass to get it to JVR on the play. And the top players for Dallas looked pretty good. We needed a little more depth from our defense and the lower liners to end up winning this game. We took a couple penalties in the game that cost us. But these penalties were of the competitive physical type, and I have a little bit more lenience when it comes to those kinds of penalties. And, the other thing that I saw that we did was we missed the net a good handful of times on some of the scoring chances that we did have. So we just needed to sharpen the aim a little bit more. Going back to the penalties that we took, Ritzkovian had a retaliation penalty for boarding that ended up resulting in a power play for the Detroit Red Wings that ends up in the back of the net. It was kind of a not so good play on Ritzkovian. I understand why he was upset and wanting to stick up for yourself on the play. The thing is he turned at the last minute on that play, so it really wasn't on the Detroit player that he ended up going face first into the board. So it was a bad penalty. We needed to bail him out on it. We didn't. The Stars end up going 2 for 5 on the power play versus the Wings going 2 for 3 on their power play. We had power play goals from Wyatt on a tip and Hintz on a nice goal that we'll talk about. But the Wings ended up having goals from Finney and Larkin, and the Detroit power play goal ended the Stars' 28 kills in a row on the road streak that we had. Going into this game, Dallas had 11 straight games with less power plays than their opponent, and we didn't take advantage of the 5 opportunities that we had to the fullest extent. I mean, we still were at 40%, so it's hard to really put this on the power play either. Maybe the penalty kill could have done a little better job, only going 33% on the kill did not help our cause. So Rantanen, he took a penalty at the end of the towards the end of the game where we were on the power play. An interference call. Again, it was a competitive type of penalty, and in the process of losing this game, DeSmith's point streak ends at 12. John Gibson had a good game for the Wings. He now has won 8 straight. The Stars were outshot again, 25-22, so we've still got to work on that. I mean, we still had stretches of this game where we had great possession and just didn't get enough shots on that possession, and the score reflects it. So Nashville did us a favor and gave us a Christmas gift by beating Minnesota in overtime to keep us 4 points ahead of the Wild. Thank you, Nashville. And speaking of Christmas, did you like the Christmas colors that we saw between the Detroit Red Wings and the Stars? Razor was talking about having it both be dark colors and having our victory greens against their deep reds. That would be cool to see. I wonder if they're doing these Christmas color games on purpose, as we have Chicago on the other side of Christmas as well. So cool stuff there that I'm hoping that the league did on purpose and it wasn't just an accident. Speaking of Nashville and the favor that they did for us, they are now 7-3 in their last 10. So, with this point spreads being so small, maybe Nashville could creep back into the playoff picture. So that's something to watch. Colorado beat Utah, and they are 6 points ahead of us with 2 games in hand. So the gap widens a bit there. Dallas still has a point streak of 5 games with this overtime loss. And I want to take this time to talk about Jamie Benn. And for anyone who doubted Jamie Benn's contract that he signed at $1 million, he's going to end up making more than that with all the incentives. But I want you to eat a little crow on this, because he is a player that is one of the best of all time in Dallas. He's my number 2 favorite player in Dallas history. And you got to give somebody like that the benefit of the doubt. This is a player who, up until he had some kind of mystery injury, I'm assuming, he looked great in the first half of the year last year, and then it just fell off for him. And he wasn't there in the playoffs either. And I understand the frustration, but with a player like Ben, you've got to look at the, 16, 17 years body of work that he has, and assume that the first half of the season, he didn't just age or get some kind of, career-ending ailment that we weren't made aware of, and assume that he's not that player that we saw. And he's proving that this year. He got a beautiful goal that felt like it should have been the game-winning goal there in the second period, to put us up 2-1. It was 44 seconds left in the second period, and Ben back checks in the defensive zone with a stick lifting a play, and Ritzy gets to the loose puck and makes a short pass to Duchesne, who then takes the Detroit line, gets outside of the Red Wing, and backhands a cross-ice pass to a heat-seeking Benn, who one-times it into the gaping net past Gibson. Beautiful goal. He now has 7 goals, 7 assists, 14 points in 19 games played. So that would put him, if he had a full season, at a 60-point pace. That is a player who still has it. He had a scrap the other night against Florida, beat the brakes off of the guy, and, he's doing this with not necessarily a whole lot of ice time either. He had 10 minutes, 45 seconds of ice time. It was good for second least on the team. He had some physical play as well last night, so good for him. He's at 970 points right now, and I want to know, do you think he'll hit 1,000 points this season? That would be cool to see. I think it's very much in his reach. Mikko had another great night. 2 assists on the game. One of them was halfway through the second period on the power play, on the goal by Hintz. Johnston and Robo cycle the puck around the near circle. Robo finds Rantanen in front, and he's surrounded by wings, but the Messiah makes a deft no-look backhand pass to Hintz in the right circle, who goes down to a knee and fires it past Gibson, high blocker. Beautiful goal. How about that great diving play that Rantanen made on a power play to keep the puck in the O zone? Looked a little bit like Zubov on it. Ended up getting it to Heiskanen at the other point on it. Just a great play. The power play quarterback absolutely is Mikko Rantanen. And usually when we think about power play quarterbacks, we think about defensemen at the point. And Mikko is almost always on the point. and he is absolutely running the show. He is the number one ranked right wing in points this year. He's the number one right wing in assists this year. For my money, he's the second best right wing in the league behind only Nikita Kucherov. He's on a 112 point pace, which would be his career best. And he's also on pace for his career best in penalty minutes at 71, puts him second in the league. Also, he has the number one assist per 60 minutes of anyone over 20 games. He's now second only to McJesus in the assist race. So we got McJesus and the Messiah in the Christmas spirit atop the league in assist come Christmas. Good stuff. He continues his charge toward the franchise record books. And Rupe Hintz also had a goal on this game that we talked about. Puts him at 3 goals in 4 games played. He won 11 of 16 faceoffs, good for 69%. He has 12 goals, 19 assists, 31 points in 33 games played. So Rupe could make it 4-point per game players for us. I hope he does. That would be Mikko, Jason Robertson, Wyatt Johnston, and Rupe Hintz that could be there. Maybe even Heiskanen as a long shot, right? Could you imagine having 5-point per game players? I don't know that that's ever been done, honestly. So I don't put this loss on DeSmith, even though he had a .84. I thought most of the shots he had were tough ones. Robo has an assist on the night. He now has 3 goals, 2 assists in 3 games played. Miro has 1 assist. He's now third among NHL defensemen in points. Miro has a 4-game assist streak with 5 assists over those games. Wyatt gets his league-leading 14th power play goal. He's got 20 goals on the year now. I also thought Maverick Bourque looked better again. This has now been 3 or 4 games from Maverick where he's looked better. Moving him into the top 6 again, he looks like a different player. It didn't work for him well earlier in the season being there in the scoring lines, but he's looking better now. The production isn't necessarily there, but he's moving in the right directions. I want to know what you think of Bourque. Let me know in the comments. So on the lower lines, Adam Ernie was in, Blackwell was out. It seems obvious now that Oscar Beck and Ritzy are higher on the totem pole than Bastian, Ernie, and Blackwell. Oscar Beck probably always was, but Ritzy's been the surprise there. And as of yet, Bastian, Ernie, and Blackwell have not overtaken anybody on the depth chart. I've got to tell you, Oscar Beck has grown on me. He makes just a lot of good, heady plays. He's not a player that's very sexy in terms of his offensive production or even his physical play. He doesn't play with a whole lot of snarl, which for a big player drives me crazy, but he's very heavy on his stick. Wins a lot of puck battles on the wall and great on the penalty kill. I thought he had a good night as well. Ernie looked like Brendan Morrow with a reverse hit on Johansson in the offensive zone. Put Johansson on his butt. I love that reverse hit move. And I thought Ernie had a very good game. I thought he was physical. He had a scoring chance or 2. He led the team with 6 hits. I want to see him scrap. I know he has done it in the past. I want to see him do it again. Foxa had a good game physically and just normal Foxa stuff that you see from him. He had a big hit on DeBrincat in the Dallas zone along the end wall. And I thought it was a Jamie Benn. He's got the size of Jamie Benn, and that hit kind of looked Jamie Benn-esque, but no, it was Roddick. So I thought overall in this game, the big boys did their job, right? Rupe had a goal. Wyatt had a goal. Mikko had assists. couldn't ask for much more from those guys. Sam Steele won 7 of 8 faceoffs. I thought Harley had a better game in the defensive zone. He still made some mistakes that could have been very costly, but one of them he kind of cleaned up, getting back and breaking up a play that he caused with a turnover. But maybe he's moving in the right direction. He's still kind of shielded in the minutes that they're giving him. He's not on the penalty kill. He had 0 penalty kill time last night. Only 1 minute on the power play as well. So maybe they're still easing him in, it looks like. The Stars out hit our opposition in a rare occasion here, 20-16. And let's talk about some fights last night. It wasn't Stars, but if you're a fan of fights, there were some good ones. There was two in the game between Boston and Montreal, which is a historic good rivalry. Tanner Jeannot and Josh Anderson had a Donnybrook, and they went at it for about 35 seconds. Go check that one out on YouTube. And then you had two heavyweights between Nikita Zadorov and Arbor Xhekaj. I love Nikita Zadorov. I wish that Leon Bischel played a little more like Nikita Zadorov. He is mean. So, will I get my Christmas wish of a goon as a present from Jim Nill? We'll see. We play the worst team in the league on the other side of Christmas in Chicago. I wish you all a Merry Christmas in the meantime, and we will be talking soon.